Exactly. All right. And so I was going to ask you some kind of questions. And I know there was a story that we were hoping Dorelli might be able to help us out a little bit on this too about the, is it your niece?
Marianne.
Yeah, niece. Marianne. So, so I would definitely want to make sure we get that as well.
Okay, yeah, for sure. That is the story.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was going to ask you just trying some background questions just to try and...
You got it?
Yeah, and then just whatever questions you like, roll.
Okay, how about for background questions? Can you mind if I ask them?
Sure.
Who did we play first and what was the score?
Oh, that.
I don't happen to go back and look it up.
Yeah, the Mount... That I don't know all the...
Oh, it's not in there?
No, it just says that the Mount Toma grid go-around...
not the grid.
Yeah, okay. Then the opening season, the T-Birds got their revenge on Foss, shooting down the Falcons by 18-7 score. And I was more going to ask you just some questions about, like, at what point did you feel like you thought that we can win a second title? Not just the first one, but when did you start to think, wow, we can repeat? I mean, that's what's so cool about this. You guys are the very first ones to ever do it. Was there a time during practice? Was there a certain game that second season where you're like, this is a chance, guys. We can really do this?
Well, I'm screwed up here. I thought we were on the second season.
Well, no, that's all right. We can start with the first season or second season. Well, you can do either one.
When we realized on that boat on the way home, you were on the boat, right?
On the first season?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was the first season.
When did you realize we had a shot of being on the boat? I mean, being
through the grid go around because our defense and offense was so good that we played together for years as kids. Okay, we're talking third grade throughout the city, but we still knew each other and playing together. And the older crew, my age group, we left and there was so much more talent still behind.
So much what?
So much talent. Just natural talented players, and we were probably the quickest defense there's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, you could not run around.
Examples of that would be I ran into Robert Ross at a meeting and remembered how fast he was. We talked afterwards, and he said, wow, man, we were pretty quick. And I said, yeah, we were. And he said, what about, who did I name first?
Robert Ross.
Robert Ross. Doug Parrish ain't a bad second. Doug Parrish could have played starting middle linebacker for anybody, in my opinion. I wouldn't put this in the paper, but that would include Donnie and Boo. Either one at middle linebacker. I wouldn't say that in the paper, but say fortify that middle linebackers by, and then list. I'm going to need help. I can't roll them off the top of my head, but we had Mike. Hayward? No.
John Hayward.
John Hayward was a tackle.
You remember having
the guy Mike Young.
Mike Young.
Was it Mike Young?
Ramon Moore.
Well, Ramon Moore was this big and this wide. Ramon Moore was amazing, but
he was amazing.
Our two guards that year, the ones that led Vindovich to a whole bunch of TDs. Not my play calling, not our ability, but Mike Young was the left guard, and he was on the left side most of the time for a reason. I'm not completely dumb. He pulled and he went right, and Vindovich would oftentimes be on the left to start with, take a jab step, and then come back around to the right, swing it, to him, and then he's got a blocker in front of him. In other words, here's whoever's blocking here, they're going in the back.
Coming back.
Or he's handing the ball to him. You hand the ball to Mike. Mike goes this way. He stutter steps one, and he comes around. In other words, Mike was pissed at me, pardon the language, that's just the way I am. Mike was mad at me for a long time for not giving him the ball more than 17 times a game. And I didn't. His dad was after me every single game for 2.5 years that I coached him about give the ball to Mike. Phil Carter gets the ball 36 times, And I said, you know what? I said, I'm really tired of you coming down in here. I'm 2.5 years. I'm not a rookie anymore. And I'm really tired. There's the guy, the head coach is a big guy. And Norty, that's the guy you talk to, not me. You know, I go pick, okay, my plays through him, but no, let's not go there with, it's all Leebrick's fault. By the way, we haven't lost a game. P.S. We haven't lost a ball game, so that ought to count for something, including the who's carrying it and why does it matter. We had several talks along those lines. Okay, questions. I'm not.
Well, you mentioned the guard, and so is this number 72? I just happened to see him in a couple of different pictures, and so I wondered if maybe that was a different guy. That I mean, I don't know if
The
it was,
lineup's not in there?
yeah, I didn't see the line, but I'll look for it. Don't worry about it. And just if it was right off the top of your head, great.
He went to gray too.
Let me see
And then I don't see a.
let me see 72 or whatever.
Yeah,
Was it
they didn't
Pearsall?
have a picture. They didn't have the name on
Was it Pearsall?
What's her name's son? The guy that went in
Yeah,
when Mike got
yeah.
hurt
I think it was Pearsall.
before the last game.
Mike Pearsall, was that his name?
No, this is
We'll look it up.
Okay.
Anyways, so I just wanted to kind of ask you about that, though. But we'll find out. I have the whole roster. We'll get all that figured out.
Okay.
I was more curious, rather than having having you try to think of players' names. I can worry about that, but just like your guys' memories. You know, some of the any moments that jump out at you. Just any certain play calls. If there was any, I mean, you guys dominated people. You know, that's one of the fun things of talking about you guys.
jump on out at us here. I
Well,
jumped a
something
couple
that I remember going into the state championship, it was, we were the underdogs. We were supposed to lose
12 and 1 and 12 and 1 and 12 and 1.
And just the media putting it out there like that, it was scary because
I'm sure.
I'm thinking we're going to go get some big guys. We're going to have some problems here, and none of us like to lose. You know, we're thinking our reputation's on the line here. You know, and
Which game are you talking about?
I'm talking about the first game with Rogers.
Okay,
against
now the
Rogers.
first game we hadn't taken the first championship yet.
No.
So when you say we're
Well, I'm talking about the first championship game.
okay, the first championship game, it was they were 12 and 1. Rogers High School. We were 12 and 1.
Yeah.
Natural rivalry
Yeah.
between South Tacoma and between Rogers and Mount Tahoma. I'm not sure how much I should share here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Gura said, "Well, you're gonna tell him the whole gig," and I said, "Yeah, I am." And we were in a bar, the Poodle Dog. He took me. He said, "I got 2 hours. I got tickets, and I want to take you to the Sonics Boston game, home game being the Sonics." And I said, "Wow." He said, "Yeah, 50-yard line sound good?" And I said, "Well, yeah, right in the middle sounds good." So we went up. We watched the game. But on the way we got up, we were talking, talking like coaches talk, smack talk. And I said, or this guy looked down at me. He said, "You guys T-Birds?" And I said, "Oh yeah, definite T-Birds all the way with all the the gold and the red and the whole bit." And he said, "Well, got some bad news for you." And I said, "I think I've been hearing it now for about a month, but go ahead." He said, "You're going to get kicked, man. You're not just going to get beat, you're going to get kicked." And I said, "Really?" I said, "How do you know that?" And he said, "Well, I don't." "And how do you know that you're going to kick us?" I said, "I didn't say that. You said that. You said you're predicting the outcome of the game here, not me. I'm saying it ought to be one heck of a football game, and I'm going to go on record right here that I believe that we can win the ball game after this little talk. I think we have a really good chance. Although the guys, now here's a step to page 2. Our guys were, this is to Marianne. Our guys were at the end of the 5th week. We were on that boat. Marianne, her head was all she still does. Does she? Anybody see a little girl running around with a bald head? No? Well, anyway, Marianne was here earlier today. And she was on that boat, and she came running up to me and put her arms around me and said, Uncle Don, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, it's a long story, Marianne. We're just playing the football game we got done last night." And she said, "Did you win?" And I said, "Yeah, we did." And she said, "Well, wow, that's pretty cool." I said, "Yeah, it is. How many games have you lost?" And I said, "None yet. But, that happens.
Yeah.
That'll undoubtedly happen before the year's over. She said, well, you never know. And I said, you know, it's great seeing you here on the boat. My belief is, Mike's not here. Mike might be the only, we don't need to mention that I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous for 31 years.
Okay.
But I am. And I believe that things happen for a reason. And I think that happened for a big reason. The whole deal, the restaurant, the shaking the hands, and he said, I got $1. And I said, it's too much money. And he said, we're just friendly. And I said, yeah, we're not really betting on the game. But I said, if we were, believe me, I would definitely be betting on, 7 weeks down the road. That's more than half the season. We're not bragging about anything. We did win last year's, but you know what? Last year's is a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And this year, I like to believe, and I did believe this, I like to believe that we have 7 closers. I'm a baseball guy. We have 7 closers on this year's team. Last year, starting with Vindovich, Quinn, Lacey, you just name it, on down and down and down. Come on in, down the line. Mm-hmm. We had so many closers, including like Doug and like Robert, who I talked to them years later, and they said, yeah, but we knew who the guys were. There was no griping about who was going to play. We knew you guys were going to put the best team on the field, and we wanted the best team to be on the field. So we went out, we played the game, but he said, Mr. Leebrick, isn't the story about the month leading up to the fact that we had another shot, at least we were one of undefeated teams, that we had a shot to maybe be there a second year in a row and go, not to win it, but just to go to it. Mm-hmm. To my knowledge, it was first time.
I think so.
To go to it, not just to win it. So he said, really? And I said, yeah, well, so.
I'm gonna get going.
Oh, okay.
All right, see you real soon.
Okay,
Really did.
love you too.
All right.
This was the ball boy at that game in the Kingdom.
It's true, yes. Pretty big deal. 8 years. I gotta tell you, standing in the Kingdom like this tall,
That would be incredible.
that was cool.
That would be an incredible perspective.
All right. You guys have fun.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
See you.
Thank
Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow, Ed? Can't remember.
Tomorrow, probably not.
What's tomorrow, Tuesday?
I'll see you again real soon.
Okay.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
All right.
Yeah.
See you then.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay, love you. The biggest part of the deal here was happening right then, naturally. And he said, well, your guys here, Gurash, Dan. Mm-hmm. Gurash and not Goebel, he was still playing. Mm-hmm. Not Mike, he was still playing. The 2-year guys that I mentioned, oh God, how did I put this and not be, I gotta be somewhat organized. We started the year and Dan said, what do you think, Don? And I said, what do you mean, about what? And he said, I know you're already thinking about it, aren't you? And I said, what? He said, taking the second championship in a row. And I said, hell yeah, I'm thinking about it. Who wouldn't be thinking about it? And he said, well, you got a bunch of nervous Hanyaks going here for the next 11 weeks or whatever, if it's really going to, fold out that way. I've never seen our kids this, and this is the important part for here. Mm-hmm. I've never seen our kids this antsy. When's the last time you heard as a 76-year-old guy antsy?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, that kind of a term to describe what the Mount Tahoma T-Birds were like. Well, we had those guys, and here's the 7 as best I can remember. Here are the 7 guys that I said I didn't think would be enough to do anything but come up in a great football game with a real good score and a shot at it, but not quite get there. Lacey Walker. I was big on Lacey Walker. I don't know if you even know who he is. But Lacey Walker was, to me, a stud. In Nordy's mind, he was really going to be something. I agree. But it's the year of the maturation, the 6'7", getting his, you know, his limbs together, and then there was Mike Young, who was my man all the way for sure. Ramon Moore, Donnie Moore, oh God, what's his name? Red hair, Danny. Oh,
What
what
about
a
the
ball
Baxter
player.
brothers? The Baxter brothers.
Oh
Quinn
gosh,
Fred.
the Baxter brothers. Excuse me. There's two more, and the other one has red sandy hair.
Is that DeCarteret?
Gotta go 8 then.
Okay. I just know he has red sandy hair.
This guy also has the same texture hair. He really does, and he played baseball for me too. so
Ralph
he's not-
Gomez. Ralph Gomez.
Ralph Gomez, I think, graduated the year before though.
Yeah.
What
He
about
graduated in
Dan
81.
Hart?
Huh?
Is it Dan Hart?
No, but no, he wasn't one of my
No, the
stuff.
Baxters were what? Quinn and
Quinn and Fred. Quinn and
Okay.
Fred Baxter.
Flannery. I'm thinking of a kid named Flannery, Dan Flannery. Is he in there?
Um,
I remember pinning a lot of my hopes on him.
not
Our
in this
hopes.
book, but it might be in that one.
Yeah. Well, look, they have a roster of someone else.
That was
Okay, so
first
with
year.
those 8
That
guys,
This is the first year.
Yeah.
so with those 7, 8, whatever they were, guys, and Dan said we're having our usual Mexican food, and he said, what do you think? And I said, Dan, I'm as nervous as they are. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't look ahead to wins and losses much, you know that. But in this one's way too far away for me to be even thinking about what I just said, and that is we actually have a shot at being, way before this whole idea came up, the first team to win back-to-back AAA at the time, 4A. Because AAA was then, right?
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, however that works. So, now that ends the Mary Ann story. Mary Ann, I called her mom up, who was here two yesterdays ago, and I said, well, look at you two. Mary Ann said, yeah, I got my football at home, but I can't find it, Uncle Don. And I said, well, you'll find it. Don't worry about it. You got pictures of it. And somebody was talking about pictures of the celebration in the dome itself afterwards. There were
Yeah.
pictures of Joel carrying, you know.
It's hard for me to remember that, but I remember in the field, that was the biggest celebration. I
I'm
mean,
sure.
Yeah.
Just the emotions. Were
And to
just-
get something from somebody that was there. To be honest with you, how can I say this really comfortably? I'm not sure I'm going to be there. I'm not sure I'm going to be there for this celebration. I have no idea, but I'm hoping for it. I'm praying for it, but there's no guarantee. But I can contribute finally with what's going on here now.
Tell us this story a little bit more in detail with Mary Ann, and because when you talked to me, you told me something about.
A second year.
Well, you told me about the player getting her and hoisting her up on his shoulder.
Yeah, that's after the game.
So. But describe the game. Which game was that?
Well, it was before who we played by the way down the line in the Kingdom, the for the second state championship, which was against Issaquah. That's who we played, and it was down the line. It was against Issaquah, but it was still, we had just beaten. This is not going to rub off on anybody, but maybe, and 4 of us are dead, and Gurash is not, and I'm not. Of course, DeCarteret, Goebel, Vindovich, those guys are still around, but we were there, and we saw the build-up. We saw the, oh my God, what if we really have pinned our hopes on doing our best, and Coach is telling us the most important thing in the world is not winning, and yet, oh man, do we want this win? And it was only 1 win away that talk was given. If I indicated it was way back earlier, that was incorrect. I was not given any talk then. I just asked if I could, on the day of the game, if I could talk to him. So I did. And it went, I thought, really well. We beat him. We didn't kill him though. 14-8 against a team that, well, I don't know, we should have beaten them. So, and that build-up led to Mary Ann, at the end of the game, the guys rushed over and they got Mary Ann out of the stands, literally, and they brought her. Joel had her on his shoulder. She was only 9 or 8 or whatever, and it was a celebration, cruising around.
Yeah.
And this cruising thing, maybe it's inappropriate, maybe it's appropriate. Ask me if I give a rat's ass. I don't at all, never did. And that is about what I will do to help a team reach their potential to play the best they can, to be the best opponent they can to the team that they're playing that night. And that's what they became that night. And I don't know whether they're supposed to win or lose, but it went out there an even game and it came back, we beat him pretty bad. I mean, not real bad.
How was Mary Ann the inspiration
How was she?
at that game? Because you said she was 9 years old and she was dealing with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And so how did that piece of the puzzle, that they would even know necessarily that she was there in the stands and whatnot?
Well, because I was the link and I was the coach and I was her uncle. And I'd seen her on the boat and they'd all seen her on the boat and we had a picture of her on the boat. There's a picture somewhere on the boat with those, how many did we suit up back then? 30?
30 plus.
31, 32. And we saw them. And of course, the kids saw her again. Or they saw her that first time, and then before the game, I told them, I said, I got a surprise for you. You know, I'm gonna bring down a young lady that really probably, and I said it pretty much in these words, she doesn't really care as much about whether you win that game or lose the game. What she cares about is that, you know, we've been kicking around at this school that it doesn't matter your ethnic diversity, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how tough you are, it only matters how big a heart you have and how much you want to go out and you want to play this game to the best of your ability and do the best you can to win it. Nobody's guaranteeing you're going to win it. And if you don't win it, what I say is, so what? You played your best game, maybe the last game of the year, and you gave it everything you had, so you ended up 2 points short, or you didn't. You won the game. Well, they won the game. And that was after I tried to explain it to you, and I was really, Mark, I was really bummed out at the time. Had just found out some news about the cancer stuff, and
Sure.
I wasn't in particular pleasing mood at the time. And
Well, I thought you did a great job when you told me that story, and then so then who's it? Is it Joel? So he goes into the stands and gets her, and
he and a couple other guys looked for her.
okay.
They didn't have any hard time finding her. She was a princess sitting right there with her ball. And of course they had to sign the ball. The ball wasn't signed. They didn't assume they were going to win the game. They had a shot. So they went up, met Mary Ann's mom. It was a big, neat, one of the warmest moments I've had in my lifetime of athletics and life. Pretty cool. And the other one I told you may not be appropriate, but I'm going to do it again. We went to a game where there's no way in hell we should have won the game. Best football team I've ever seen in high school in my life, in all those years I've been alive. And that team was Richland, Washington. And Richland had a team that we swapped films, you know that. Mm-hmm. The week before you get the opposing game film. Well, we got the opposing game film usually and thought, hey, we got this now. We can do this thing. Well, after the video was over, I said to Guru, I said, Danny, I said, man, let's not show it to him. He said, Coach, come on. You can't do that. You can't send him into a game against a team that good and not tell them what they're going to be up against. Let them make up their own mind. You've been telling them all this car wash crap about what you can do and can't do. How are we going to tell them you do your best? That's what you do. That's what you're saying you should do. And yeah, look at you. Mm-hmm. You know, you're looking like you're in fear. So that's how it happened. I got to go back in. I got to give the talk, and they were fired up, and and I went out on.
He's fired up now.
Yeah, I remember the conversation.
I went. Yeah, you have to
The
have been there
feeling
almost.
What's your recollection?
I remember I was laying on my back, just listening, and everybody was listening to this conversation. And I swear to you, something through my body went ting. It just, and the lightning came above me, and it was just, I was unstoppable that day. There was nothing that could stop us. I mean, it was, the whole team was riled up. We were fired up. We knew we couldn't be stopped. We came this far together. You know, and the coaches ran the best coach game ever. That was the best coach game ever from both sides. I mean, everybody was pumped. It was just remarkable to see us win it like that.
And what position did you play?
I played defensive safety. I played the receiver. I did 2 touchdowns that game. 2 touchdowns. Yeah, a couple of interceptions. Never forget them. I picture it clearly in my mind. Just, you know, we just had a remarkable game.
Yeah, big
It
game.
was a good game.
Big
And getting to the game, it was a struggle. I mean, there was some fear. I remember us playing Kitsap boys. They were grown men. Okay.
Remember what?
Kitsap. They were grown men. I mean, they were double our sizes. I mean, we were at the most, on average, probably 170, 80 pounds.
Yeah, that's good to guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like, because I was 145 pounds. You know,
Ramon
back
Ramon
then.
weighed 139.
But you couldn't catch me, though.
Yeah.
I did not want to get hit. So, but we had some big monsters. I mean, remember Curtis Sanders?
Oh yeah.
God, linebacker out of this world.
How
Out of
about
this world.
who's that big sucker? Angelo.
Suarez.
I want to say Dundee, but that was a boxing
Angelo
guy.
Suarez.
Angelo Suarez came over from McElvey.
Yeah.
I can go back through the schools, I can go back through the people, and I can go back and I can only ask what it felt like to be going out on that field. What it felt like to go out on that field was that I had done everything I could and those guys were focused. All I remember was, Jesus, you got a monster going here tonight, baby. These guys are going to play their you know what out. And they did. Oh, they played really, really hard. They hit hard. They out-hit them. They drew nothing but, you know, the compliments about how our kids focused and how it was apparent the way they played and how they played and what high school ball's all about and everything that you could have wanted happened. And I had no idea, honest to God, that was gonna happen because of you guys. You know, there's more important things than winning a ball game.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect it. You know, I thought we'd win some games because looking at the prior years, you know, we had a decent game, but other teams were just a little bit better than us. Then coming into our junior years, when we decided, no, we're not gonna lose anymore, and you know, like I said, once again, you got to give to the coaching because the coaching definitely is part of the win, and they ran the right plays, right time, and our defensive calls were, I mean, they anticipated the game before it happened.
Talking about the coaches or the
Yeah,
other
the
team?
coaches, you and Mountain, I mean, ran a tremendous game of calling the plays. And like I said, once again, we were so fast, there was no way defensively they would get around us, and offensively they couldn't keep up with us. And
Yeah,
everybody was
it's
such-
impossible for
Yeah.
you to understand what
Yeah.
he's saying. It's impossible if you're not down on the sideline and remembering, okay, I was a pretty good athlete myself. I could book a little bit. I could run a 4 or whatever. At that time, a 4 or 5 was good. Later on, it was like a 4-3-5 was pretty good. They just kept getting faster and faster. And it wasn't a matter of will we really win the game. It was a matter of how they would respond to a game. This is my gig. How would they respond to a game where they had to recreate a scene that I shared with Mark, I believe, down at the pit, they called it, in Richland. We had to play them before we got to, and we watched the tape, and my God, we thought, honest, no, Don, this is quite a team you picked up on here. What are you doing? And we did it, and we went out on the field, and the next thing we knew, I had been, how can I say this politely? I can't. I'd been depressed all year long because I knew we were going to win the first one. I knew we were going to win the first one. I was positive we were going to win the first one. We had Mike We had DeCarter. We had, I can name 12 guys.
Unstoppable.
The top probably 6 to 8 of whom would have started for any team in the state of Washington, easy. They would have played. I don't care if Gold's 5'8", I could care less.
Yeah.
I don't care how big they are, he can bootleg, he has the entire package down, not only my package, but Stortini's from years before to draw on, and plus my misdirection stuff that I believed in strongly. So we went out and played the game, and damn if we didn't win the game. And then we went back over to our turf, which was, over on the west side of the mountains. And I started getting a little cocky myself then.
You had it right,
Started
too.
thinking, well, two Puyallup teams, and I'm not a big Puyallup booster anyway, but we had to beat them, and then we had to beat them again. I mean, Puyallup, and then. So I don't know what else there is other than I can answer a million questions, except for I can't answer how two things happened, and that was the one I've told you about, and the other one is how absolutely flabbergasted and pissed off the players on our team were for allowing our perception as a team to be faltered by such bullcrap thinking coming into that game that this team actually could even stand on the field with us. I didn't think there was, after the one game where we beat the Richland crew, I absolutely could not handle it. And this guy, this coach, oh God, he was a wacko. He was worse than I was. He came running over and he said, "How'd you do it? How'd you do it?" And Nordy said, "What do you mean, how did we do it?" He said, "We're a better team than you." And the guy said, "Well, clearly, that's the case, but I mean, how in the world my team was going to walk all over you with big boots, baby, tonight? This was going to be no contest, and you absolutely took the best team I've ever seen, and you pummeled them. What was the deal?" So I told him about the end of the game, which I don't think I told you about, and that is we get out on the field to do the kickoffs, the punt returns. I was in charge of that stuff, all the specialty teams. We march out onto the field. Craig gets ready to punt, and the cousins, I guess they're cousins,
Fred and Quinn.
get ready to return the punts, and we went out and we kicked one time, and I said, "All right, guys, let's go back in." So we went back in, and that one wasn't planned. I said, I'm having a hard time believing that I'm going to be able to wait 3-4 more minutes before I go out on that field and encourage people to kick a little booty. And I told them that they were calling us the Mount-Tahoma niggers. That was the relationship. We went out on that field, and that's what we heard coming out of that. That cannot be denied. Not even that coach would deny it. I don't care. I don't care what he says about denying it. It could not be denied. Adults doing that to kids? Come on.
Yeah.
I remember some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Just fire you up. That's
Oh, I'm sure.
Just fire you up.
I mean,
Ready to go.
it was one of the things I was going to ask you about. Is like, we're struggling with this now in today's world.
Yeah.
How do you take, a group of kids, like you said? I think that was one of the things you said that helped answer is that you guys have been playing together since your third grade or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But how do you, with all the different things going on in the world, how do you bring a team together? That you were a team, not just a bunch of guys who are wearing the same uniform, but truly, I am my brother's keeper kind of an idea.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well,
However you did it is
You guys did it.
I mean, the years you guys did you all go to stadium? You went to stadium?
I went to stadium.
And you went to what year did you graduate?
69.
69, okay, you went.
Wilson, 70.
Wilson, 70, okay.
Mount-Tahoma, 94.
Oh boy. Mount-Tahoma, 94.
That's why he's sitting in front of you.
80.
80?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got in on them both.
Yeah, I was on both. Yeah, so the thing with us, and I know we had each other's back. Because if my brother in the front couldn't do it, I was the one who had to do it.
Yeah.
So we always had a backup plan. We knew if let's say a guard is pulling, take somebody out, that's in the cornerback and safety. We knew we had to be there.
Yeah.
And we got there quick. they couldn't bounce back because we
Yeah.
were so fast.
Yeah.
We were small and quick. I mean, you try to end around, we're there, and our center, defensive center, Ramon Moore, he was back behind the center just when the quarterback got the ball. That's how quick he was. He was
Yeah.
on the quarterback that quick.
Wow.
They could not do anything.
You know, it's interesting, that game, that particular game, Mike Young wasn't able to play in the final game.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you're sure why or not.
I don't remember the reason
You
why.
weren't supposed to. Anyway,
Well, you might be lucky.
no, there's some rules you don't look past, and
Yeah.
he blew one of them.
Okay.
And we just said, you know, Mike, we want you on the sideline. I do. I want you there. I want you hugging guys. I want you patting them on the back. I want you doing what you've done all year long, but you're not going to play in that game. Crushes me more than it crushes you, but you ain't going to play in that game. He said, I understand it, Coach. And he said, well, who you going to put in, what was her name? Kathy Pearsall. Kathy Pearsall had a son that was like, I'd say JV
Rock people.
ability.
Big.
But yeah, he worked at it. He was a smart sucker,
Uh-huh.
and he worked at it, and he just didn't know how far that his living up to that moment
Yeah.
was actually going to be, and he did. He lived up to the moment. He wasn't a superhero by any means, but I'll tell you what, after that game, he's kind of gone. We're here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some back, you know.
Yeah.
It's about the game. It's
That's
about the best I can ever recall. You know, like all the things that mattered to me. What year was it? It was 88. 88. I had just left. Stadium. Yeah. I left Mount Tahoma when, let's see, Norty passed away, let's see, Joe passed away, Norty passed away. But Boughton was the head coach when I tangled on and said, I'll do it another year or two, whatever you want me to. And he said, that'd be great, so I did. And then after that, after 2 back-to-back championships in a row, it was awesome, but what do you do for an honor?
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, what do? You got these kids that absolutely think, wow, we did it. We did it, not coach, not anybody, didn't give credit to anybody except us, the Mount Tahoma T-Birds of South Tacoma Way. And nobody's going to ever take that away. Well, that's what you guys are making possible. That hopefully is what will be given out. I'm really glad somebody took the to do that. Yeah.
It's a special feeling, and then we still talk about it today, and we brag about it.
You should.
I mean, because it's some bragging rights to the young kids.
Yeah.
You know, I picture it clearly in my mind. Just the bus ride, we had the police escort, and the whole works. I mean, for a kid, you are on top of the world. It was really good.
It sure was.
It was something, wasn't it? Yeah. It was. Not everybody gets to. Phew. Doesn't matter whether you're whatever an adult is, as opposed to being a squibbling kid coming out of a junior high school program that always dreamed that you could win 6 games and beat Jack Sontag. That was your before what you thought you might want to do.
Yeah.
And then after playing him, you thought, oh, something else maybe.
Yeah. You had bigger dreams than this.
Yeah.
So you allowed your players to do their best. Do you feel that as a coach over all those years that you did your best?
That I did best.
That you did your best?
That I did my best as a coach.
Right. After all the years you coached.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I think they knew that I would have to do the two things that were not controversial at the time. They weren't. There were teams drinking the night before a game out in those lake this and lake that and north this and whatever, and they let their kids play the next night and got beat. So what are you going to do? I mean, I was proud of them. There is no back talking about, you know, Coach, how could you let him do that? You know, now we'll go down as a team that couldn't win the game, the big one, without our studs in there, Vindy and those guys. Da da da. I didn't say a word to any of that.
We never played like that as a team. We didn't even get caught up in that. We just played and listened to the coach. I mean, we knew they had the best interests. Sometimes we didn't agree, but we didn't say nothing. He's the coach. He's the boss, and that's how
Did
we
you
were
have a
raised.
captain's, kind of like 3-4 guys that
Yeah,
met every once in a while and said, "Hey, are we going the right way here? What should we be doing?"
we talk about it. You know, during school, actually, we'd meet in places in the school and talk. Basically, we had Boo, Malcolm Sorrell.
Wow.
Boo, Malcolm, and DeCarter and Goebel. All of us would get together. And Vinovich would meet. We'd meet and we'd talk. You know, without coaches being around. You know, knew what we had to do, and got it done. I mean, we kind of talked about things. You know, because sometimes we had issues. You know, we were going at each other. Well, you should have did this. You did this. You did that.
Right.
But we got past that, and then the game comes, and the coaches just put the ceiling on the cap. This is what you need to get done. We look at each other. Every huddle we discuss it before we go and hit the play. Okay, it was golden. It was, you know, you almost felt like you were a pro ball player.
Yeah.
You know, because it was that feeling. It wasn't about money in the future. We're just right now we are the best. You know, and that came from the coaches once again putting that in us.
Yeah, I appreciate getting all that credit because I didn't think we did.
You never really yelled at us. You just gave us facts and something that we had to sink in and think about.
Yeah.
You know. And
I had facts that I had to give into that I never really. I get the years mixed up. I know that I went to take Stortini's spot in '77. He went to the Senate in '77 or '78. I got in there. We got kicked around pretty good because we're running his offense. And I couldn't run his offense with Tommy Johnson, with Vince, with Colin. I didn't have that speed. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And instead of making mistakes, I mean, instead of making excuses for that, I just, okay, it's got to be my offense next year, or it's not going to be. Well, it was. The next year on was, you know, my own offense. And it went something like this. It went from Mike played, wow, somebody do the math. He scored 54 touchdowns for me, for me. He scored them for me, naturally. His sophomore year and junior year, and then his senior year, he just went wacko, but he scored less touchdowns. And after that, he was a man. I mean, man. Mike was never a boy. Mike was a man. He was a man from the day I knew him. From the very moment I met him as a 9th grader with Quinn laying on his back with a broken ankle, and him coming over and saying, "Coach," he said, "you know, God, you know, I feel terrible, I really do, but you know I want to be a quarterback." And I said, "Mike, it's hardly the time." And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I want a shot at it. I know all the plays, and I can run them right now in our inner squad and prove to you that I could be a second string quarterback." Well, needless to say, he was an unbelievable tailback. As far as a backup quarterback, in my opinion, he could never hold Todd's jockstrap as a quarterback, a guy who knew how to run the offense and so forth. But boy, did he contribute. After the last game, he smiled. He was even really, really gung-ho that we won the game, and I said, "Michael, you look happy." And he said, "Coach, I am. I'm happy." And I said, "That means the monkey's off my back." How many plays that I gave you the ball? He said, "Not really." He said, "Phil played last night. He carried it 34. I carried it 17 tonight." I said, "Yeah, but who won the state championship?" He said, "I get you. I get you." That's it, guys.
That's how you
all
learn,
I
man.
can do.
yeah, we were so versatile. It was so much talent. You could give the ball to anybody, basically, and you'd get something out of it. You know, once in a while we'd beat ourselves, you know, on a play, you know, penalties, but And rarely did we have penalties. We were a really disciplined team.
When we were, or I was, I was still pretty young for that staff, but, and insecure still too. I knew I had a drinking problem. It wasn't a problem like you have, of course. I'm kidding. But alcoholism says, no, it's not me. I didn't have the problem. I was just, having a couple of dips to kind of get loose before the game. And all that was a bunch of bullshit, obviously. But the guys, after the game, they came by little and said, we were hard on you for a guy that only coached here, 7 years? And Goldsmith, Vince at all?
Yeah.
If there's ever a kid to love, God. Anyway, he kind of straightened things out. In the locker room at a Super Bowl game, we were done with the whole deal. We'd accomplished everything we kind of wanted to. And Nordy with his bravado, he'd say, you guys, we're just, right coaches. We were great coaching staff. That's the only reason we won. He's bullshitting, obviously. And I can't imitate Vince Goldsmith. Vince said, well, tell you, coach, he said, this Leebrick guy here, you're getting all over. He was when he was a sophomore, we won 10 games. And when he was a junior, we won however many games. We were undefeated, and we were undefeated. We won a lot of ball games for him. He may not have known exactly what we could do, but he believed in what we could do.
Yeah.
And that hit home even with George. I mean, it really did.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Small attack.
Any other questions you can think of?
I guess I'm the football geek. I mean, I didn't coach as long as you have. I didn't play, but is there a certain play? You were talking before, like you love your misdirection, talk about how much speed you have. Is there a certain play that you're like, oh, this was my play, or this is...
Yeah.
Don't jump up and start running it now.
I remember the play.
I just need to, well, I had more than one play, but
Well,
I
of course.
had a piece of paper and a pen just to kind of show the basic set that we ran out of.
I remember the quick ends. You had me run the quick ends.
Terrell and
Quick ends. Step it, ball right there. He said, throw the ball low, because he likes the ball low, because he got good hands. The ball comes down, I get the ball down.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, and your height, I would think that would be great. With your quickness, you can catch it and go.
I remember Showboat one time.
Okay, I'm going to put a center
Yep.
right here. I'm going to put a guard right here. A guard right here. A tackle right here. Maybe split, maybe not. A tackle right here.
Yep.
Those guys are in place with this being the center. Okay, however they played their defense doesn't make a damn bit of difference to me. We had the QB, and we had Mike could have been. He could have been this guy. He could have been this guy. And he could have been this guy, or he even could have been a slot and moved from his spot over to here on a set. Go, go, go. He goes over here and resets. Then you got a double slot. You got one guy in the backfield. This guy here, you got all kinds of movement you can go to. For instance, Mike was always wanting to follow this guy. That's Mike Young. And he always wanted to follow Mike. Well, so we can flip-flop the whole thing and take it over and just go the other way.
Yeah.
And then Mike's going to be coming from, okay, he shifts late. He's there. He's not here anymore. But he's set over here. And DeCarteret is a badass blocker. He takes whatever you give him. And here the quarterback turns And here is, what do we got, Bindi? That's what he meant by a misdirection. You pitch it to him,
Mhm.
and he gives it to him inside. Like the last word said is outside or inside. Quarterback gets him outside, quarterback gets him inside. That play with Mike pulling.
Mhm.
Shh. Get out of my way.
Yeah, exactly.
It was incredible. Yeah.
Now, what was,
Cool.
you said you remembered a particular play?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of quick hits with that formation.
Didn't he have a
I
double?
would be on the outside on the slot, and I would either go down maybe 5 and cut in, because I would get the respect of that cornerback,
Yeah.
right? So on that misdirection.
Drop a new formation. I mean,
Well, this
make
is
it-
formation, but I was over here.
Make it how it's going to be at the snap of the ball. Though.
Okay, snap of the ball. This
At
is
the
where I'm
snap.
at. Okay, and you got your corner right here. I would come in, and Brad would look towards me because I would get this respect of this person.
Yep.
I would pull in,
Right.
right, and he would follow me. The safety would come towards me. I left all that open over there, you know, for that misdirection. And there was times where, if they slacked on it, Brad would just throw me the
Throw the
ball
ball.
right there,
Right.
and I would just
Yeah.
up the middle.
Yeah.
I remember that. That play was
Uh-huh.
flawless. Flawless play right there.
You betcha.
I remember that.
That's
Yeah.
the best football plays. You know, they just have the different things off of them. You know. And
Well,
so it's-
there are so many off of that you know I don't know how you can run. It was an argument. It was a controversy that we had the 3 years I was there, and that is where we were last year on that field in that state championship game is not where they're going to be this year. They're going to be in this set, or they're going to be opposite. They're going to be seeing stuff they haven't seen before. I don't want them to see it.
Yeah.
Therefore, Coach Leebrick, it was nice to. I'm sorry, but I got tired of being called Coach Joe. You know, Coach Leebrick, what do you want to do? And I said, what I want to do is, I want to get as few carries as possible for Mike Vindovich. And I know going into the game what that's going to cause. He's going to run twice as hard. He's going to be the man, no doubt about it. No matter what, he will not quit you. He will not give up his back, your back, anybody's. He's going to make the most out of what he can make. Hi there.
Just checking in. You need anything?
You know the deal here.
You know, I have a DVD of that championship game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That would be great to
If
be
you
able to
guys
see
need
that.
a copy.
Yeah, that
Can
would
you
be
see this one?
amazing.
Yeah.
That would be. Yeah. Wow. That would be.
You get some?
Is that is that the first or the
I
second?
got the first. I could get the second one too.
Can you?
My girlfriend, she works at Como. The archivist has all that.
Oh.
Wow.
So I can get.
That'd be
Tell you
cool.
what,
Who's your-
why-
who's your girlfriend?
if you can,
I don't know if you remember Carmen Glover.
And she has the.
She works at Como. I have a DVD of the first championship game.
Oh, wow.
I can get a DVD of the second one too as well.
Can you get a copy of the DVD game and
Yeah.
so that I could look at it too,
Yeah.
not just have one?
Yeah. I
tell
can
you,
get a copy.
tell you what,
He's gonna be making plays here pretty soon.
if you'll get
What do
me
you coach
the
for?
DVDs of each.
I don't coach.
Okay, I can do
Oh,
that.
I thought you did.
Yeah, no. So I scout college players.
Kirk is
and then
is
write
our
about
go-to
them
guy.
going
Okay.
to
So he headed up Peoria
so I like-
Communications for years.
skiing and
So
things like that.
I'll
you know,
have him
if
make up
someone's
some
running
DVDs, and we'll cover the
lead,
cost
I don't know.
to have that done.
But I can tell you,
You know,
who's strong,
and then I'll
who's
get. So if
fast,
you
who's
want a couple
quick,
copies,
you
and
know,
you
all
can
that
come
kind of-
over here with the
I'm
guys.
more of a
and,
scout.
you know, whatever.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
when I was watching a
Okay.
couple
Being a
days.
scout?
Yeah, and I love it.
Pretty
I love it.
damn important
Because I'm
part of
excited
it.
about
It
that
is, it
because
is. And
the
that's- so when I
quality
first started
is going to
teaching,
be better than
I was
anything
like
that
mentor
we're gonna
scout.
do.
Tapes we had
They would
back
send me
in the day.
games.
So
I'd
you've got
film
my
a
cell
game.
phone number.
Yeah.
So
I will
watch
call
this
you,
corner, watch this quarterback
and,
or whatever.
I have her.
That was my job. But I
I would get it done
coach or
tomorrow.
make my own
She
plays.
gives him a call. He'll pull it right up.
And then the
get
All
it.
right.
college
Oh, yeah, if you
football
give me
stuff
one
has
of
grown
each,
up for
okay,
me.
that'd
So
be
now I do a lot of
awesome.
radio
That'd be
and some
super.
TV and
How
stuff.
many years did
Because
you
we're going
coach
to do a
there?
video
I only coached
presentation.
Mount Toma for
Okay.
Kirk is
one
gonna be
year. I
putting
coached
that
the stadium
together,
for
and
3
we'll be able
years.
to.
Okay, one coach at
This is.
I was
this is a
actually
great
with Todd
session.
Carteret.
Mount
Glad
T with
you were
Todd.
able to
Yeah.
join us.
Yeah.
and then
And then with
We're gonna
at
have
stadium,
all
it was
kinds of
a two
material.
event.
Stadio, you were with Tua?
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow,
so he
I
was
think
the
that's really
assistant.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, he was.
Awesome draft.
He
He's
was
in Canada
good.
now or something. isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing. He was a really, really good guy. I loved him. But
Yeah,
he-
I met him one time.
yeah, he's a good guy.
Very, very, very
His passion.
neat dude. Yeah.
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 Well,
What is
listen,
he? Ty?
We don't want to tire you out today because
Oh.
you need to be around in May.
Yep.
Oh.
But
I thought it was March 12th. It's May.
May 12th.
Oh.
May 12th. But Darrell's going to get us those DVDs, and we'll get copies made, and I'll get him some extra copies, and then he can come over here maybe with a couple of the other guys and
Yeah.
shoot the bull with
Cool.
you guys.
Well, how about with this, being said, and me feeling better? Why didn't you bring the guy whoever's seen the tape, you and me? Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, we can bring
And another person, and bring it over and let the 5 of us or 6 of us say, "Oh yeah." We're gonna start doing that motion stuff, right? Yeah. I'd like to do that as a second step, and I can certainly participate there and say, "Oh yeah, that's the one."
You are giving me credit for writing up your plays, right?
I am. Oh yeah.
Many
She
times.
as an 8th grader was writing up my plays for Mount Tahoma. She'd
They
come
think you're
down.
kidding.
She'd come down. I'd make my plays on the table, and it was an oak table, so it went right through.
Yeah.
So my plays were there, and she said,
Mom was
"Dad,
pretty pleased.
Dad, I don't think you should use motion on that play." Oh, okay. All right. Whatever you say.
Good feedback.
Yeah,
Good feedback.
that's great.
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna get back to work.
Yes. It was wonderful
I
meeting
will
you.
be in contact with you guys this week. I have one now. I have the other one made tomorrow.
Okay.
And
You just
we'll
let
get
me
it
know.
to you probably on Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll connect.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Great
coach.
seeing you.
Good seeing you, my
seeing
friend.
you.
Okay.
Really.
We'll be in
awesome
contact. Okay, it's good seeing you.
seeing you.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
let's
everything.
stay in
Okay.
contact. You got
Yeah,
it.
we'll be in
Absolutely.
contact. I'm gonna get the guys together. Remember Earl Davis?
Do I really? He's the one guy I've been in contact with
Okay.
since I fell and had my little thing going on.
So we talked today, and we're gonna get all the guys together.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and we're gonna come over and see you.
Cool.
Okay.
That
If
sounds
you don't
good.
mind.
I don't mind at all.
All right.
I'm going to be right here though. So.
All right. We'll come see you.
Spaceways, you
We'll
might
come
want
to
to.
you. Bill, come to you.
Spaceways wise, you might want to make it not a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Just kind of the ones that knew the offense
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. All
No,
right.
no defensive players.
There you go. There you go.
That
Okay.
comment will stay here in the room.
All right, gentlemen.
Take care.
Take care,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right.
It was nice
Thanks,
meeting you.
Darrell.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
See you
Well,
guys.
Take care.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yep, yep, yep.